Greetings from the M14 motorway, heading off to Bicester village and then on to Birmingham, because I'm going to be bringing hopefully a lot of good vlogs this coming year, hopefully from India, from the US, particularly New York, probably Philadelphia, maybe also Washington or Boston, depending upon my mood. Also hopefully good vlogs from Istanbul and hopefully Egypt as well, depending upon my mood, and also depending on the COVID situation, because you can't really tell which way things are going, and things always get knocked out of place with these restrictions when they come in and when countries bring them in. But the reason for me doing this vlog today is I've been asked the same question over and over again by a lot of my friends, and I wish I had it recorded on a tape which I could just play them. It's the same question, essentially phrased in a few different ways. Is Pakistan safe? Was it dangerous out there? Is it dangerous out there? Those questions I've been asked time and time again by everyone who I know that who knows that I visited Pakistan. Now it's been a few months since I came back from there, and I've had lots of discussions with people about this as to my experience, and I think what I point most of my friends to are my vlogs. I say, look, just watch my vlogs and you'll see how it was out there, because nothing was scripted. I spoke to a lot of people out there, and what you see is what you get. I showed what was the reality of it, and that's what I tried to present when I was there. If something bad happens or good happens, that's to be shown, so that's all presented. And as far as I'm concerned, as my trip, if I cast some light into it, I went there on a Sikh pilgrim's visa, which is a religious tourism visa, to view religious places associated with Sikhism. And so getting the visa was no problem, it's easy. The High Commission here gave it pretty quickly, so that was easy as far as that's concerned. I landed in Lahore airport, in Allama Iqbal airport, and I departed from Islamabad airport. And in between those two cities, I visited a lot of towns and a lot of cities, and I can give my experiences as to how things were in those places. Now, one thing where I did benefit from immensely was the language. Now, I could speak the local language. I had no problems in speaking Punjabi, as my vlogs will tell you. So speaking to people wasn't a problem. In fact, the only time that I spoke English out there was in the vlogs where you can hear that I've spoken English. But apart from that, when the cameras were down, I spoke Punjabi. Every person that I met, every place that I went, I had no problems with the language. So that was one advantage that I had, which I will say, it was to my advantage. Now, as far as people are concerned, the people there, I did not witness one single act against me that was negative. In fact, if you watch my vlogs, I actually stood out from local people because I was wearing a turban. And so if something bad was to happen, I stand out a mile. Everyone can see that I'm different. But far from it being negative, it was actually very positive. And so what that actually, I think, showed to me was, look, here I am amongst so many people, and they all want to come and see me. They all want to come, and a lot of them wanted to come and say hello to me, shake my hand. A lot of them took selfies with me. In fact, a number of places that I went, particularly the mosques that in Lahore itself, Badshahi Mosque and Wazir Khan Mosque, I'm particularly respectful when I go to places of worship, be it a church, be it a mosque, be it a mandir or a gurdwara. Actually, come to think of it, I've not been to a synagogue before, so maybe that's on the list as well. But whenever I go to any place of worship, I'm very, very respectful as to what the traditions should be, what the norms should be. So when I was in particularly the mosques as well, there were people that came up to me for selfies, and I was actually a little bit reluctant, thinking maybe this isn't good, but the locals reassured me that it's fine. And I particularly remember one place that I went to, Miami's Mazar. I actually got stopped outside. There was 4 or 5 gentlemen who stopped me, And I thought, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And one of them said, can we take a selfie with you? We saw you at Badshahi Mosque earlier, and we just want a selfie with you. And I took the selfies with them. So the people there themselves, and I can only speak for locals, the people there. I can't speak for politicians or political activities because I'm not a politician. I speak only for the people that I met and for the people that I saw. As far as a common man is, I had no problems with them. I had fantastic conversations with them, be it from children to gentlemen in their 80s and 90s. In fact, there was a 90-year-old man who stopped me and he said to me, what part of, because people assumed I was from India, and so they said, what part of Punjab are you from? And then I'd speak to them about where my family are from. And then he went into a discussion with me that his family he was from Firozpur before partition, and he said to me, do you know this village? Do you know anyone from there? And so the conversations varied. They varied from people asking me, what's it like on the other side of Punjab? What type of clothes do they wear? What type of food do they eat? To people that asked about villages across the other side which their families had left. And so far from it being negative, it was a very positive experience. Now, over the last 20 years, yes, Pakistan has got a lot of bad press in the Western media because there's been a number of attacks that have happened. In the past 5-10 years, those have decreased somewhat, and the country's heading towards normalcy. Now, a lot of the people there that I spoke to, this was a majority of people that I spoke to about this subject, because not everyone speaks about the problems. Whoever that I did speak to, they all want things to be normal. They all want things to be civilized. They want to be able to experience different cultures. It's no different from people than the average person in the UK, for example. So as far as that's concerned, there were no negative feelings from them or from I mean, for me, there never was even before, because if I had negative feelings, I wouldn't have gone. So I went there knowing that I'm going to stand out, that, I am, sort of setting myself up for an experience. If it was to be negative, it could be bad, but if it's to be positive, it was to be very positive, which it was, and I think my vlogs show that as well. So what I say is that, it's different for me in terms of, because I'm fluent with the language, I'm a Punjabi through and through, so I had a lot of advantage as far as that's concerned. I would say if you are a tourist from the UK, America, Australia, Canada, who's not Punjabi, for example, say you're UK white British, for example, I don't think you'd have any problems out there. I think, in fact, you'd enjoy it. I witnessed quite a lot of people trying to speak English as well, so you won't have that problem. The hotels there are, I would say, international standard, particularly Lahore, Islamabad, etc. Internal transportation I found was pretty good. The coach bus system, I went on a Daewoo from Lahore to Islamabad. Motorways are fantastic, so there's no problems in terms of that. If you think that there's going to be a risk to yourself, I would try and get away from that thought. Now, the thing about risk is, I want to put a caveat on that. Risk could happen anywhere. My friends have been pickpocketed in Barcelona. Now, the last time I checked, Barcelona is not in Pakistan, it's in Spain, one of the great countries of this world. So petty crime can happen anywhere, and happens in the UK, happens in London, it can happen any city. So petty crime, yes, stay away from badly lit places at night, stay in the main areas at night. During the day, really, I don't think you'll have any issues whatsoever. In fact, on my first day that I went there, this was actually on the very first day, I arrived at Lahore airport at about midnight. By the time I got to the hotel, it's about 1 o'clock, and I was out probably about 6 o'clock in the morning, driving to Nankana Sahib, and there was an army officer. He actually saluted me, and it was at that point I thought, you know what, actually this place is probably okay. and it's pretty good. And so that put me at ease, even more at ease. And I think that's the kind of thing that I think tourists will witness if they go there. I think keep the negative aspects out of your mind. The Western media, to be honest, will only show a negative incident. It's a negative incident, the negative acts. It might even be 1%. So let's say, for argument, it's 1%. So the 1% gets greater coverage than the 99%. And that's what the conversation that I had to a lot of people about. I was saying, look, everyone that I've met here is fantastic, but your voices aren't really heard or shown. And it's the negative aspect which is going to go on the big news channels, the BBCs, the CNNs, and the other news channels in the West. So I think go to the country, chat with the locals, immerse yourself with the culture, Punjabi culture, and I'm not saying that I'm biased anyway, because I come from that culture, is one of the best. I believe it's one of the best cultures out there. It's the hospitality is legendary, our food is legendary, the way we are, the way we behave to each other. We can be the best of friends, we can also be the best of enemies as well. It's a downfall, it's a double-edged sword. But when we are friends and we get on with one another, there's nothing like it. And I think that's the thing I think that you've got to have in your mind, and sort of think about how your trip will be. Now, I've spoken just for the Punjab area there because I didn't venture outside, so I can't speak for the Sindh area, Karachi for example, or Peshawar and further up north, or say Murray or Hunza, these types of places where a lot of tourists do go. And there are a lot of tourists that do go out there, and their videos are out there. I didn't get a chance because my trip was only 10 days. Maybe the next time that I happen to go, I'll visit more areas and get to cover a lot more. The one thing that I will say, and I think this for me explains it far greater. It's okay as I was there. I was with my mum who went there, just the two of us, so it's two adults going. A lot of my friends asked me, would you take your kids there? And I said, yeah, I would take my kids there. I believe the place is fine, it's fantastic. It caters for families. I don't think I'd have any problems with my family. I was given a lot of respect by people there, and in fact another case springs to mind. If you've seen my Kartarpur Sahib video, there was actually a professor with part of a medical college. The students there that came that day, my videos within my vlogs, and I'll attach a link to it. I spoke to them for hours. We had discussions, and it was just refreshing to hear their opinions, because those kids are the generation that's going to take the country forward. And I hope that some of the things that they discussed and the progress that they want to see with their country, that helps. And hopefully that then comes out, and I think that's going to have a big impact on the way that the country's portrayed, because I feel that it's only a matter of time before tourism there becomes quite big, because the infrastructure is being made there. There's a lot of good infrastructure there. The Orange Metro line in Lahore, for example, the roads, the motorways. I've got to say, Islamabad airport also is fantastic. So they've got the facilities there, they've got the people there as well. The people are very warm, very hospitable. So I think it's definitely a place to visit and witness the culture and see exactly how it is, because it's easy to fall into the trap of seeing the Western media and falling for whatever gets said, because that's going to influence what you do and how you act. And I'd say, look, get that out of your mind. Focus on the people that have been there. Ask the people that have gone there. Watch the videos of the people that have gone there, because in fact, before I went to Pakistan, a lot of my friends said to me, don't go there, this is going to happen to you, that's going to happen to you. And to be honest, I didn't listen to them, because none of them have been to Pakistan before. So it's a bit like me. I've not been to South Africa before, so I can't give advice on how South Africa's like. So I wasn't going to get advice from people that had never been there, so it's irrelevant. That's just personal opinion. And so the personal opinion has to come from facts. It's got to be stuff that you've seen. And from everything that I saw and everything that I felt out there, I would not hesitate to go back. I would go back tomorrow. And it's, you know, and hopefully I will go back, because there's a few more things that I do want to do over there. I want to see, want to visit. I want to visit Kartarpur Sahib from the India side as well, because I've done it from the Pakistan side. I want to do it from the India side. Then I also want to see more there. And you know, now that I've been there once, I know exactly what to expect. I've got more knowledge than before, and I hope that my videos, because I've received a lot of messages from people as well. I've received a lot of emails from people. You know, my videos, you know, made a lot of sense to people. They wanted to see things like this, especially locals, because you know, when they've grown up and seeing just the negative portrayed all the time, they're looking for something positive. And you know, it's very hard to get positive messages out there, because the story that always makes the headlines is someone punching someone down, not the person who helps someone and picks them back up. That's not the story. The story is the fight. So hopefully my videos brought that out to you, and you know, answered the questions that you may have, because my friends certainly had them. And the amount of times I've been asked those questions, it actually got to me, because I just felt like having recorded messages played. And you know, it's something that I hope that then has answered the question, and I hope that people understand exactly what that message is. Until the next time.